Good morning. Good morning. Monday morning. It's time to start over. Do y'all start over every Monday? Because I do. Start- I'm starting a diet. I'm starting to drink all water. I'm I'm gonna quit being stressed out every Monday. Why do we wait till Mondays? That's the $1,000,000 question. Why do we wait till Monday to start over? But it's just like something we do, right? I don't know. I know I can't be the only one that starts over on Mondays. So this weekend, um, my glasses broke. And these are not even that old. I don't know if y'all remember. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to say less than 2 years ago, I bought these glasses and I bought these glasses because I wanted to have a backup pair, right? If you are a glasses person, and you're blind as a bat like me, you know that like it's important to have a backup pair. And I cannot wear contacts. Okay. So I am blind and I have progressive lenses and I have to have transitions. So these son of a guns are like $500 a piece, $600 a piece. Okay. They're not cheap. Okay. I'm sensitive to the light. I have to have transitions. So I went and I said, I'm going to make an investment. I'm buying two pair because I have been in trouble with not having a backup pair. Well, this is like $1,000, right? Like, who has just $1,000 sitting around to spend on glasses? I told Shane, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. Well, the next time I went to the eye doctor, I told him, like, when I'm live and I have these glasses on, everything is blurry. Like, I have to, this is how I have to go to see. To see what y'all are saying, I have to put toothpicks right here and do this. So I realized that my prescription had changed. So I went to the doctor and he was like, Judy, your eyes have gotten worse. You're going to have a new prescription. And I'm thinking, I just spent $1,000 on two pairs of glasses. And now you're telling me that my lenses have changed. And I thought, well, can I just put new lenses in these and not get new frames? Maybe it'll be cheaper. No, it was like $500 to get new lenses. And I was like, I might as well just get a brand new pair of glasses. So I went and got me a new pair of glasses. I don't know when I bought these. These. Okay. And I was not about to buy two pair because I was like, I'm not spending $1,000 and then within 6 months to 8 months my vision changes. I mean, that's not a good idea. So I just bought one pair of glasses. So now these broke and I can't see nothing because I don't have a backup pair. That's how my day went yesterday. So I thought I could see. I can read with these, but in order to see, I have to wear them like on my forehead. So I have an eye appointment on Wednesday. So I'm going to call and see if I can go early to see if maybe these can be fixed. But that's how my day's gone. How's your day going? Um okay. Today I was going to talk about marriage. And I'm probably the last person. I'm probably the last person on this earth that needs to be given marriage advice. Okay? Considering I've been married 4 times. Train wreck. So but I'm going to give marriage advice, but I'm not going to necessarily talk about what everybody else did wrong or the fact that I cannot choose men. I'm going to talk about where I went wrong. But before we do that, if you are married, I would like to know how many years you've been married. Shane and I have been married 8 years. So, if you're married, I want to know how many years you've been married. I may have to put on my toothpick glasses. I need toothpicks right there. 23 years. Wow. I just would like to know who has been married the longest for the backup dancers, because maybe I should bring you on my live and maybe you should give me advice. $42 to Tom. Lord. 49 years, Joanne. 38, Lorraine. 49 years, Sharon. Yeah, glasses are expensive. And people talk about, oh, you should get them online because they only cost this much money. Well, because I have to have progressive and transitions, it's like they're still expensive. I mean, they're probably not $500, but I don't know. I kind of feel like you get what you pay for, but maybe I'm wrong. And then I'm the type of person that wants to try them on. And when I can't buy them online because I get them home and I'm like, these look ridiculous. 14 years, 38 years. How do you get me? You know how much glasses are? Autumn, me too. Me too. I can't because I have to have them measured because I have the progressives and I'm not about to just spend money online without trying them on. And the fact if they broke, you can't just go to the eyeglass place to say, hey, my glasses broke. Can you fix them? You know what I mean? And I don't know if you guys know, if you've been following me a while, you know, but I have this disease. It's called amblyopia. I am blind in one eye. It's actually called lazy eye because what happens is my eyes don't know how to function at the same time. So like when I'm looking, I only have one eye. But if I close this eye, I can see light, I can see color, like I see the blue, I see the white. I can tell that the screen is moving, but I have no idea who you are. Or I mean, I can't see the big E when they cover that eye. So hang on. I was trying to see how long y'all been married. Okay. Um, I really just want to concentrate on my previous marriage. I was married 15 years and I got married in 2001. And my kids were very young. And I was not well. How old? I think I was 30 when I got married. And first of all, I feel like the first thing that went wrong is because, and I've talked to if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about this marriage before, but I was married to my children's father, and I met Robbie before I was divorced. That was the first mistake, was not getting out of the marriage before jumping into another relationship. It's something that I'm very ashamed of. I was absolutely miserable when I was married to my kid's father, and I just was young and dumb and did not care. I just didn't care. I was to the point where I was like, I don't even care. Like, I just was miserable with my life, with everything about me. I was just miserable. And I met my husband. We got married. I met him and I got a divorce, and I sold my house and moved straight in with him. So we only dated, I'm going to say 7 or 8 months before we got married. And so it all happened really quick. But if you've been in a marriage, you're going to understand this, whether you've been divorced or not. It's like, you know, everything that you hate about your marriage currently, like he's ugly to me, or she's ugly to me, she doesn't work. I don't know, whatever is struggling in your current marriage, and you're like, I wished I could get out, but I've been married to him too long, but I'm miserable. You know what I'm talking about. If you've been married a while, you know what I'm talking about. And when I met I'm just going to say his name. When I met Robbie, he was everything that Chris was not. Chris had a hard time keeping a job. Chris struggled with being responsible. Robbie had been on his job forever. He had good credit. He was very good with money and organization. He had his own house. He went to work every day, been on his job forever. He was very, very stable, where Chris was not. Chris was all over the map. I never felt safe in my marriage with Chris, because he couldn't. I just struggled. Okay. I'm not going to go into that. But Robbie was everything that Chris was not. And in my head, I felt very stable with Robbie. And being the fears that I have in life, Robbie comforted those fears, because I always worried that I didn't have someone to walk with me and had the same goals as me. Like, I was always responsible, always had a job. I actually always had 2 jobs. And I just was looking. Robbie provided me that comfort that I needed to go, okay, this person's going to walk with me and we're going to be okay. And I felt that with Robbie. And the fact that Robbie was such a good stepfather to my children. I mean, my children called him dad. And Robbie had a son. And to this day, I talk to my stepson every week, just about. I mean, I talk to him probably more than I talk to my own children. He calls me Mama Jude. To this day, that's my kid. I don't even really look at him as my stepson because to this day, when he was buying a house and had questions about interest rate and about buying and about insurance, he's calling me. Mom, what do I do? Tell me what this is. I'm buying this house. What do you think? He comes to me for guidance. And I will say that with my marriage with Robbie, I got a son out of it. And me and his dad have been divorced over 10 years because Shane and I have been together 10 years. So over 10 years, we've been divorced. And to this day, he calls me. He was at my son's gender reveal party. He's there. He's my kid. That's my son, my kid's brother. It's just, they've been together since they were 2 years old. Corbin was 3. His name's Packy and Vanson were 2 years old, and I changed his diapers. I helped raise him, so he is very important in my life. And I think where the marriage went wrong was it started in infidelity. And I feel like it's kind of hard I feel like this is just my religious beliefs, but it's hard for God to bless a marriage when it starts off that way. It ain't God's will when you're doing that, right? Like, it's just, it's not. Now, I've seen marriages where it started that way and they turned their lives around and they got their life straight. And I do believe God blesses them because I feel like they know their sin and there's kids involved. But for me, I just felt like, where I thought it was so stable in the beginning because he was everything that Chris was not. I didn't date him long enough to know what I was getting myself into. I just jumped in because when you're miserable in a marriage and some person comes along and flirts with you and then you find yourself, oh gosh, like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I believe in. But you found yourself stuck and you find yourself thinking about them nonstop because he's everything your spouse is not. You find yourself even though you don't believe in stepping outside the marriage, you find yourself doing that because you're so miserable in your marriage that you're just seeking attention, or you're seeking stability, or you're seeking someone that doesn't treat you ugly or doesn't talk to you that way. And this person is fancying you by, oh my gosh, if you were my wife, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Or, oh my gosh, he's so lucky to have you. And he's feeding your ego, and it's making you wish that you were with him and not in this train wreck marriage that you're in. Because when you've been married for a long time, you may have been through something similar to what I'm talking about, because marriages are not perfect. You might have been through one of you cheating on each other, or he doesn't treat you nicely, or she doesn't treat you nicely. You've been through that, because marriage is not Romeo and Juliet like we think it is. And I often talk about how women, we're brought up watching Cinderella, and we think our Prince Charming is coming in to bring the slipper that fits our foot, and it's this beautiful marriage, and and it's it's so far from that. It's not even funny. I will say that I'm not I'm not a Disney fan. I'm not, because I feel like it's not reality, and I feel like it teaches kids non-reality stuff. I don't know, maybe that's just how I feel. I feel like that all these movies, like I said, Cinderella, Romeo and Juliet, Snow White, all these things, the Prince Charming comes in and rescues her. And women in general, we dream of our wedding day. We dream of being in this beautiful white dress and everybody's eyes are on us. And this man is standing there and it's the love of her life. And it's going to be this gorgeous, and they're going to have a white picket fence around their house, and they're going to have the children, and the wife's going to be like, what's her name? June Cleaver. And she's going to put on her apron and she's going to be at home making homemade bread. You know what I'm saying? And the husband's going to work, and the wife's going to be able to take care of the children, and the man's going to provide, and he's going to love her forever, and he's never going to step outside the marriage because he is so. This is her. This is his. You know, this is his Barbie or whatever. Like, that's what we think, and it's because I feel like it's just because of watching those darn Disney movies, because we think that's what it's going to be like. And I have been caught up in thinking that's what a marriage is supposed to be. And when I first met Robbie, I felt like Cinderella. Like, this guy, I taught aerobics, right? I taught aerobics my whole life. So I taught before I even knew him. And I can remember that when I used to teach aerobics, he would stand outside the aerobic room because there was a window that, like here's the treadmills right here, okay, and the ellipticals and all that. And the aerobic room was behind all that. And I can remember him standing, and I would be teaching aerobics, and every single time I taught, he would go work out, and then he would come stand in the corner and just watch me teach aerobics. He thought he had died and went to heaven that he had an aerobic instructor as a wife. He thought I hung the moon. He thought, oh my gosh, I have met this girl that's in aerobics. She has a good job. And he just would sit and stare at me. He thought I was his Barbie and he was Ken. And because I was in the aerobic field, he started really taking care of his body. And he started working out like every time, because I taught aerobics almost every day, and I would get off work, go home, get the kids, we'd fix supper, then I would go teach, and all of us as a family would go to the gym, and my kids would go to the gym daycare while I taught aerobics for an hour and my husband worked out. And he began to become like, because I was such a fitness person, he wanted to be a fitness person. He had very low self-esteem when I met him because he had a big gap between his teeth, a big gap. And he was always intimidated. He had a receding hairline, and he never felt good looking. And he felt like when he met me, don't know why, but he thought he had won the lottery. This girl is a aerobic instructor. She's fit, like, oh my gosh, she has a good job. And so he was like, I want to do something with myself. And so he began to work out. He started going to the tanning bed. He went and got braces to have his gap fixed. Like, he And I said he was intimidated by his receding hairline. I said, "Shave your head." Like, girls think, I mean, bald heads are good looking. Like, that's not like a downfall to girls usually. I mean, so he shaved his head and he started tanning. He got his teeth fixed. He was buff because he was naturally built. He had a slim build, like he wasn't a big guy, but he was very muscular without even working out. So when he began to work out, he was ripped like a potato chip. I mean, he was ripped. And so he then decided that he was going to start competing in bodybuilding competitions. So he began to really focus on his diet. And I can remember I had to go to New York for a aerobic convention, and I was gone for like a week. And he had a personal trainer that had him on this diet because he was fixing to compete in a bodybuilding competition. And I remember coming back from New York, and that joker was ripped. I mean, ripped. And I was like, man, your body has changed so much in just a week. And it was because he was so disciplined with his diet. They had him on a high protein, low carb, low fat diet. And that joker, you could see every muscle in his body. And I remember when he went to this competition to compete, I remember being so proud of him. Like, I remember sitting in the audience going, my husband is dang ripped. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang. And that was when we first, I can't remember. I don't remember if we just got married and he started doing that, but he started doing that because I was a aerobic instructor, and he was so proud to be married to me. Like, I mean, he stared at me all the time. He just thought I was like beautiful, just, I don't know. And then suddenly things started changing. You know, when you haven't dated someone for very long, you don't know their quirky ways. Like, he didn't know my quirky ways. I didn't know his quirky ways. And reality started setting in, right? And he had severe OCD. Severe. And I had severe depression. And the two began to collide. Because I'm going to tell you something. I wasn't easy to live with. You know, where I talked about my ex-husband couldn't keep a job, I had a hard time keeping a job, because what would happen was I would get depressed, and then I couldn't get up and go to work. I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't function. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. I mean, it's not like this depression just started happening. I've had depression since my senior year in high school, but I didn't know what to do with it. I thought it was just who I was, because I would go through these spurts of feeling good, and then I'd go through these spurts of not being able to function. And nobody knew what to do with me. My mom, I've talked about that before, but no one understood me. And I didn't understand myself. I just knew I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And when Robbie's OCD would kick in high gear, I took everything personal. Like, for example, there was times when if y'all walked into my house and opened my closet doors, you would be like, because the towels were not folded, okay? The towels were folded perfectly, and then they were rolled up, and they were in the closet, organized, rolled up, like almost as if you were at a luxury resort, okay? Like, when I tell you my house didn't have a speck of dust and everything was organized, I can't even I can't even hardly explain to you how perfect my house was. It was so perfect that when people came into my house, they felt uncomfortable. Like if I had my family over for, let's just say, Thanksgiving, no one was comfortable because Robbie would be like if you were eating, let's just say, your meal and you got finished, the plate was, he would come get the plate immediately and go to the kitchen and begin to wash the plate and put it up. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know, I just can't explain it. It was really bad. But instead of me understanding that my husband had OCD, I took everything personal. Do you do that? Does your spouse have some type of element, whether it's anger, whether it's OCD, whether it's jealousy, whether it's, I don't know, addicted to something? Do you take it personal? And then you're miserable in your marriage because you take it personal and you're like, I'm not good enough. Because that is exactly what I did. Because what would happen is I couldn't do anything right. I wasn't allowed to cook. I remember this one particular time, I had this friend that was a big cook. She loved to cook. And she was like, why don't you cook? And I'm like, it's not easy to go, I'm not allowed to. Because you're not allowed to cook? No. When you say that to someone else, they're like, what? You're a woman and you're not allowed to cook. I couldn't say that. I would just say, I'm not good at it. And she would say, Judy, get your butt up and cook for your husband. Well, she drove me crazy going, you have got to go cook for your husband, Judy. Cook and have the meal ready when he gets home. And I was thinking in my head, I'm fixing to get blasted. But see, like, to the outside world, someone doesn't understand that I live in this house, that I can't do anything. I would slowly start telling her that my husband had OCD. But if you've never lived with someone that has severe OCD, you don't understand. Just as if you live with someone that has severe depression, you don't understand until you lived in it. And Robbie was dealing with me with severe depression, and I was dealing with him with OCD. Well, this particular day, she taught me into cooking a meatloaf. Okay. And she gave me the recipe, and I went. I know this is going to, y'all are going to go, what? Part of his OCD was to be OCD about money. I was allowed $100 a week to go to the grocery store. We had 3 kids. Okay. $100 a week. Needless to say, I couldn't go to the store like we have a Publix, which is kind of a nice grocery store. I couldn't go to that store and spend $100 because everything, like I would be out of money within no time. So the store that I had to go to, it was like the low budget grocery store that I went to. It's like that grocery store. I don't know where y'all are from, but it's like the grocery store that like you can buy 5 meats for $25. That's the grocery store that I had to go to. And when I went to the grocery store, I literally was that girl that had the calculator. Okay. I had to have a calculator. And I remember vividly me and him, because I had to go to the grocery store with him. And I would sit there with my calculator at the low budget grocery store going, okay, 4 canned goods are 25 cents a piece. And I would go around with my calculator at the grocery store because I could only spend $100, and that is it. So I went to the store to surprise him, to cook for him for the first time, because she taught me into it, because she had no idea what I was going through. She just thought it was silly that a wife did not cook for her husband. And I let her talk me into cooking a meatloaf. Well, the meat that we had was high in fat because we couldn't afford lean meat. So I think it was like 70% instead of it being like 80 to 90 or 85 to 90%. It was like 70%. It was 30% fat. So when you go to try to fix a meatloaf, a good meatloaf on low budget ground beef, it's a little greasy. Okay. And I cooked, and when he got home, I had the meatloaf there, and my kids got home, and mom's cooked for so my kids were brought up that mom doesn't know how to cook. Mom's not good at those things because dad does it. So the first time I cooked, you can imagine what my kids and my husband said to me. This is disgusting. I remember my kids ate, but I remember that my spouse would not eat. Robbie would not eat. He's like, I'm not eating that, because he could not make himself eat something that I prepared. I took that personal. I remember bawling my eyes out to my friend on the phone and going, I don't know why I let you talk me into this. And she was like, what did he do? I said, he wouldn't eat the meatloaf because I prepared it. And she was like, why? Because that makes no sense to someone that doesn't live with the OCD. I don't understand. Wait a minute. You, as his wife, are preparing this meatloaf, and he refuses to eat one bite. Yes, because I prepared it. I set myself up for failure. And then that night, it threw me into a depression. His OCD would not let him eat the meatloaf. So then it threw me into this depression. I'm not good at cooking. I should have never let her talk me into this. She doesn't understand. So then it caused me to withdraw from the relationship with that girl, because how do I explain to her that I live in hell? So then it busted up my friendship with her. It busted up my marriage, because I did something that I wasn't supposed to do, or I wasn't allowed to do. I stepped out of my comfort zone and did it. And I said that day when he refused to eat, I said, I will never do this again. But being me and who I am, I decided to sit him down and talk to him and tell him he hurt my feelings. Have you ever done that with your spouse? Have you ever, they have this problem and you're like, I need to approach them. I need to sit them down and explain to them that this hurt, what they're doing is hurting me. So I sat down and I had the come to Jesus talk, and I said, I just went out of my way to prepare a meal, and you won't eat it. And it hurts my feelings. So do you know what he did? He got mad at me, and he went and got the meatloaf out of the refrigerator, and he ate the entire loaf of meatloaf out of just spite, because I had my feelings hurt that he wouldn't eat it. So he ate the whole flipping thing until he made himself sick. Well, do you think that made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside? It just knocked me into that much of a depression. And it was hard for me to understand at the time not to take his OCD personal. That's on him. But when you're in the middle of it and your self-confidence is zero because you've lived in this OCD environment for the past 15 years, I couldn't put the sheets on the bed right. I couldn't do the laundry right. I couldn't cook right. I couldn't even sweep the floor right. I could do nothing right. And I took every bit of it personal. But like when you live in it, it's hard for you to understand that this is his problem and not yours. Because I was the type of person who I couldn't go do the laundry and feel good about myself. I would do if I bucked up and did the laundry, I was scared to death. Oh my God, he's going to be so mad at me. Oh my God, because this is what he would do. He would do the laundry, and when he would have, I'm the type of person, you can ask Shane, that the laundry like stays in the dryer for a minute, okay? Like I have to fluff them. Okay, I'm fluff these and I'm gonna take them out, and then I don't take them out because I get sidetracked. That's who I am. So when the laundry, when the dryer would go off, he would almost sprint to the dryer to get the clothes out, and he hand pressed the clothes. Everything. He hand pressed every shirt before he put it on a hanger. So therefore, when I did laundry, I felt like I had to hand press the shirts, because if I didn't hand press the shirts, then he would be mad at me. But even when I hand pressed the shirts, I didn't do it right. I remember another thing that would happen was this drove me insane. But we had to squeegee the shower every time we got out of it. Okay, I didn't grow up squeegeeing the shower. Okay. I grew up with this. First of all, I grew up where we had a shower curtain. We didn't have a door that you squeezied. But we had to squeegee the door every single time we got out of the shower. And I can remember I would feel like I wanted to, like, I would be like chewing nails squeegeeing that bowl. I would be so mad that I had to squeegee that shower. It would get on my nerves all the time. But I would do it because I didn't want to cause ruckus in my house. I would just do it. Like, Judy, just squeegee the daggum shower and quit worrying about it. Just squeegee it. It does look better. And I can remember trying to fold the towels. I'm like, okay, let me try. Let me try to fold these towels. And I can remember just going, okay, are these, like, I would have one towel and be like, okay, it's perfectly lined up. Okay, roll it tight, Judy. And I would re-roll that towel like 45 times trying to get it tight to go into the closet because I knew I wasn't going to do it right. And as soon as he got home and he found out I did the laundry, what did he do? He re-rolled every one of those towels. And I can remember trying to open up to talk to someone about it, like, a friend or something. And I'd be like, I'm just struggling. I'm just struggling. And they would like, what are you struggling about? I can't even put the dishes in the dishwasher. Judy, you're lucky. You have no idea. Wait a minute. You have a husband that does the laundry and cleans the house, does the cooking, and puts the dishes in the dishwasher. Like, you're the luckiest girl in the whole wide world. I don't know. And so then I would try to go, okay, no, I'm lucky. Like, I've got a great husband. I'm so lucky. This man is obsessed with working out. He's ripped up. Like, every girl would love to have a husband like this that cares about his body and ripped up in bodybuilding. He shaved his body. He didn't have one lick of hair on his body. He shaved his whole body. He was smooth. He put lotion on his body every night. Like, Judy, my friends, Judy, you're so lucky. Like, you don't have to come home from work and do the cooking and the laundry. And so then I would be like, oh yeah, I'm lucky. I forget. Oh yeah, I'm lucky. And I would, because people would tell me that. Oh, you're so lucky, Judy. And I can remember just sitting there being miserable, feeling like a prisoner in my own house. And my friends were like, you're the luckiest girl in the whole wide world. Because we had a mansion. We lived in a mansion, okay? I lived in a 6,000 square foot house. Okay. It was huge. When my kids' friends would come over, I can remember there was this one little boy that was Vance's friend, and his mom said, I forgot the little boy's name, but they call Vanson his rich friend because the little boy did not live in a big house like Vanson. And Vanson was called, oh, good, I get to spend the night at my rich friend's house because we lived in a mansion. So from the outside world, I had the perfect life. I had this husband that did the laundry, did the cooking, did the cleaning. I lived in a mansion. I drove a nice car. Like, why was I not feeling blessed? Why was I living this miserable life inside this trap? And why did I not see what other people saw? Was it me? Was it just me? But a lot of times you live in this house that no one understands what you live in. And to the outside world, you look like the luckiest girl in the whole wide world because you have this husband that's drop dead gorgeous that does everything. For me, if I could go back and redo things, You know what? There's things I would change. There's a lot that I would change about myself. But I did not start counseling until 2010. And I started counseling because if I didn't, I would have probably not be here today. And I knew my kids needed a mother. And I was like, if I'm no longer here, oh my God, the Chris is going to have to raise my children. Oh dear Jesus. It's like, oh my God, I got to fix myself. So in 2010, I hit rock bottom. And I hit rock bottom because my husband left me. And the only way up, I was at my lowest point in my entire life because I let all my friends tell me how lucky I was to be married to him. So therefore, Judy went to battle to get her husband back. I went to battle because I was the luckiest person in the whole world. Like, he was the most perfect husband because that's what everyone told me. And I remember going to counseling, and my counselor would go, okay, tell me everything that you love about your marriage and everything you hate about your marriage. And I thought everything was my fault. I thought, well, he cheated on me because I'm a terrible wife. I go to bed at 6 o'clock every night. Like, it's my fault. I didn't show him attention. I didn't, like, I'm a terrible wife. I mean, I can't get up and go to work. I can't function. I, I sleep all the time. I, I'm just not a good wife. I heard something. Um, there's a lot I would change about myself. Could I have saved the marriage? This is the deal. This is the deal. I told you guys that when I started counseling, I was going 3 days a week for 2 years. That was in 2010. When your spouse can't see that they're doing anything wrong, and then you take their problems personal, you're headed for a train wreck and a miserable marriage, a miserable life, wishing you could get out, but you're stuck because you've been married for 42 years or whatever. I sat there after 2 years because we didn't get divorced. I can't remember. I think it was 2014. So I was in counseling for 4 years trying to fix my marriage, trying to fix, like, just, I can remember going to counseling going, tell me everything to do to save my marriage. It's all me. It's me. I can't do anything right. I can't cook right. I can't do anything right. I can't budget my money. If I go $10 over the budget of the groceries, He takes gas money from me, and then I can't get my kids to school. I don't know why I can't stick to this budget. I remember like sitting in counseling saying that. And she'd be like, wait, what? Judy, how much money do you make a year? And I remember she goes, how much does he make? And how much do you make? And I was the breadwinner. And when I told her how much I made and how much made, and she goes, wait a minute. So I remember this one particular time in counseling. It was the winter. My car was parked outside the garage. So snow and ice got on my car because he had a brand new Camaro and a truck that was inside the garage. And my car sat on the outside the garage because we just had 2-car garage. And in the mornings, I took my kids to school. And it used to make him mad that I took my kids to school, but I took them to school before I went to work. He wanted them to ride the bus. I did not want my kids to ride the bus. I wanted to personally take them to school. So in the mornings, I would go out there and warm the car up to get the ice off the car. And I remember him telling me, if you're going to continue to take these kids to school and run your car before you leave and get the ice off your car, I'm taking money away from your gas because you're wasting gas by warming your car up in the mornings. I want you to go outside at night and put a sheet over your car. Hang on, I hear Larry. Hang on one second. I forgot to give him a coffee cup. He said, if you're going to continue to run your car in the morning and waste the gas to take your kids to school, I'm going to take money off your grocery budget. And I remember telling my counselor that, and she was like, you have to put a sheet over your car at night so that ice doesn't get on your car. I'm like, yes. And she was like, Judy, how much money do you make? How much money did he make? I don't understand. And it wasn't till I started getting counseling that I started understanding that what OCD was all about. I knew there was a problem. I knew there was something not right. I knew I'd never been with anybody like him, but I was taking his OCD personal. I'm not good enough. I'm out there running the car in the mornings to take the kids to school. I mean, not like I had to go to work anyway. I was going to have to get the ice off the car to go to work, but I was taking everything personal. And when I started getting counseling was the moment I realized that I was not going to get better if he didn't get better. And I can remember sitting him down going, do you know they make medicine for OCD? Because he knew he had it. I mean, he knew. When you're combing the carpet at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's something wrong. Like there's something seriously wrong if you're getting up to comb the rug at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, there's medicine for your OCD. Like, I'm going to counseling 3 days a week to get better. Will you go? Will you go to counseling and you get better? But he didn't have the problem. It was me. It was all me. You're the one with the problem. I don't have a problem. And I did. I had a serious problem. So he had, to me, he had, I know y'all are going to disagree. He had every right to cheat on me. Every right. I don't blame him. I was not a good wife. I was not good. I was not well. I cried all the time. I slept all the time. I was depressed all the time. I was a train wreck. So I really can kind of understand how another woman that showed him a little bit of attention, I can understand why he ran with it. I can. Does it make it right? No. But the difference in me in this marriage today versus me in that marriage before, does that mean that Shane is just problem free? You know, to this day, you're so lucky, Judy. You are so lucky. And to the outside world, people see, they view what you have. You have a nice house. You have a farm. You have this education center. You have all these nice things. You're so lucky. You're so lucky to be married to Shane. You're so lucky. You get that. I bet people say that to you. Oh, you have no idea. You are so lucky to be with your husband. You are so lucky. But sometimes when we're in a marriage, it's hard for us to see our blessings. And sometimes it's hard for other people to see what we deal with. You only see the outside. You don't live inside the house. You see outside the house. And I will tell you, Shane is great for me. He is. But every single person in this world has something that they struggle with. Okay? Something. And you as a spouse, again, if you're taking it personally, you need to go get help. Because I will tell you, in the beginning of our marriage, me and Shane's marriage, I took everything personal. Even though I'd had counseling for 400 years, I still took all his things that he has trouble with. I would take it personal. But the better I started getting mentally, to understand people's thought processes, where their trauma comes from, understanding how not to take, like for example, let's just say Shane. There's things that Shane struggles with. Big time. Does he see it as a struggle? No. You know why? Because he's never had counseling. You know my shirt, I go to counseling because you don't. He doesn't go to counseling. He's never been to counseling a day in his life. So therefore, he don't know how to process things. He don't know what a trauma response is. He doesn't know any of that. So I had to learn to separate his crap from me and who I am as a person. That's on him. I have nothing to do with that. He's telling me it's me, but you know what? I'll check myself to see if it is me. Because a lot of times when something happens, you do have to check yourself. What is my part in this? Because you play a part in everything that you're dealing with. You have a part in it. Do you allow these things to happen? Do you take it personal? Like what do you are you the best version of yourself? But I will tell you that I have learned, well, I didn't start getting better until I got out of that marriage. And I am not saying run out and get a divorce. Okay? I'm not saying that. So don't think that I'm telling you to run out and get a divorce. But for me, the second Vanson and I moved out of that house was the moment my healing began. And I can remember thinking I couldn't live without him. And the moment I realized that I was no longer going to take that all the problems were me. Every bit of this was me. And a lot of it was me, okay? A lot of the problems in the marriage was me. But I couldn't fix me until I got out. I was scared to death. It took me 5 years of counseling to get out. And it took me 5 years because I was like, oh my gosh, what is my family going to think? Oh my gosh, Judy just got another divorce. Oh, she's a train wreck. I worried about what other people thought of me. But the moment I started fixing myself, oh Lord, what time is it? Am I running way over? Oh, yeah, I am. The moment I started fixing me was the moment I started getting healing for myself. And I feel like the wife that I am today, I've put a lot of hard work in to get to where I am today because Shane's never seen me depressed. Never. He has no idea. Robbie probably could sit him down and go, oh, you have no idea. Shane's never seen me sick. Robbie has. Robbie's seen me in and out of the hospital several times. Shane never has because I've always been well. And the way I got well was realizing that I have choices. I can fix me or I can just be miserable the rest of my life and hate these things. And I told you guys, I started writing down everything that I hated about myself, everything I hated about my marriage. And I began to check it off one at a time. And it seems impossible. I'm here to tell you, let me get my preaching stick out. I'm here to tell you right this minute. It's hard work. It's never ending. It's a weekly process. I go to counseling every week. There's things I struggle with. I'm struggling right now with that joker in the other bedroom. I live in hell. Just gonna tell you right now. I do. And it's a daily battle. But remembering that you have choices, sitting it out is being miserable the rest of your life. Being miserable in your marriage the rest of your life. Believe it or not, you can stay married and be released from all that. But you have to do the hard work. You have to make the choice to call the doctor, make a counseling appointment, make a doctor's appointment, fix all the things that you need to fix about you. Dancing is being the best version of yourself, one step at a time. Showing up, giving it your all. It doesn't mean you give it your all every day. You go back and forth. Understanding how your brain works. Why does your brain do this? Figuring it all out. You don't have to live your life miserable the rest of your life. You can dance. I'll see y'all Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. I'm sorry I was a little long-winded. See y'all later.